Welcome back to Tech Talks from Commercial Baking. I'm your host, Maddie Lambert. In this episode, sponsored by Lesaffre, I'm speaking with Jim Gluhusky, Senior Technical Services Manager, about better for you bread and consumer expectations. Jim, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you, Maddie.
I'm really excited about this topic because these are exciting times. We are in the better for you era. People are seeking products that prioritize healthier ingredients, and that really changes how bread fits into a well-rounded diet. So, what are you seeing in terms of consumer purchase preferences?
I think over the last few years, actually several years, it really appears that consumers are continuing to study the labels of the ingredients on the products that they're purchasing. They basically are looking for products that are healthier, more nutritious, made with simple ingredients. They don't really want to go for those things with the long chemical names that they don't understand. I think even recently, they're even starting to look at some of the more simple ingredients too, like fats, sugars, things that you normally see in bread that maybe there are some concerns of what types of fats and what types of sugars are listed on these labels also. They're really taking the time to make sure that whatever they're going to consume will be what they deemed healthy. And unfortunately, bread, whether you like it or not, a lot of people really see that bread is unhealthy for you. A lot has to do with, some of the media and some of the people that, say how bad it is. Whether we like it or not, that's how the consumer sees it. So when they're actually trying to purchase things, they're looking for some different types of ingredients or claims that would be deemed good for you.
Absolutely. And based on these preferences, the healthier ingredients you can understand, what types of bread are becoming more in demand or more of a hot commodity?
Well, I don't really have the data in front of me. I can only go by basically, what I've seen and talking to a lot of the different bakeries and the types of products that they're producing. But right now, especially with the onset of the pandemic, sourdough seems to be one of the more popular choices. Obviously, anything that has a clean label with simple ingredients on there. Organic has continued to grow. Things like non-GMO, whole wheat, any of these things that might have nuts or fruits, some types of inclusions, the healthier type products. Those are the things that I think the people are kind of consuming or really turning to. Keto, on the other hand, I think a lot of the keto people, it's probably that and gluten-free are probably dying out a little bit. This, again, it's just my personal opinion. I don't have the data, but ever since sourdough really came on the scene, I think a lot of the gluten-free, especially people, are turning to that. And a lot of the keto people, they basically don't like the taste, to be honest with you, because when you're giving up a lot of the sugars and carbs that are normally in that type of a bread, it just doesn't really meet their taste needs. So they may try it once or twice, but eventually they probably will go looking for other options.
hmm that doesn't surprise me at all. For me personally, I tend to shop for bread that's hot, like higher in protein count or maybe lower in calories. You can't find these everywhere because it's hard to produce on such a national level like that. Which segues to my next question. What challenges arise when producing these better for you breads at scale?
Well, for the baker, there's a lot of challenges actually. Anytime you are trying to remove sugars or remove fats or to put inclusions in there, eliminate processed flour and replace it with whole wheat flour, it's going to create a lot of challenges for the bakers. There's no doubt about that. One of the biggest challenges is to make a loaf of bread, that is very consistent, that has a good volume. A lot of the times, gas retention and what we call weakness of the dough will always be there. You tend to have long mixing times, very hard to get all the ingredients incorporated in a consistent basis. And speaking of ingredients, a lot of the other challenges, especially if you're going to try and go to an organic or even a gluten-free, you really have to isolate these ingredients and assure that the line that you're processing it on is clean and no chance of cross-contamination. In addition, a lot of these products, if the baker wants to do, they're going to have to get certified and
Hmm.
go through a whole long certification process. And then they're going to have to try and purchase certain ingredients that will meet these qualifications, and that's going to be a challenge for them also.
Sourdough production could be a very long and detailed process that, again, needs to be controlled daily. It presents many inconsistencies and challenges. However, here at Lesaffre, we have many solutions. First, we can provide starters that have pre-selected microorganisms that have a balance of the bacteria and yeasts that can shorten the time from start to finish and be very consistent time after time. Another choice are live sourdough cultures that are designed to be added directly with other ingredients to immediately produce great tasting products. In other words, we'll supply the live sourdough, and the baker just has to add the rest of the ingredients. It's very simple. One final option is also deactivated sours. This would provide really unique flavors to their breads. Whatever the situation, we generally have a solution.
But, going back to my original statement, the baker has only a limited toolbox of things that they can use when they want to go clean label and healthy and all these kind of things. Fortunately, there are some solutions to it. Lesaffre and other companies do have solutions. Right now, the most popular choice are enzymes by far, because enzymes will perform a lot of different functions to give you that strength, to give you the tolerance, to also reduce mixing times, help relax and shape doughs properly, and give you better keeping qualities also. Other things like ascorbic acid, which is basically vitamin C, it's been around for years and it's generally recognized as a clean ingredient. And that provides some very good tolerance and strengths and also oven spring for some of the products. Besides that, there are some natural ingredients that can actually perform and give you some of the attributes that they're looking for, but they come at a cost and they also are very hard to purchase.
It's hard to reformulate though without sacrificing things like shelf life or desired texture or even taste. And let's be honest, when consumers are shopping for bread, they don't want to have to sacrifice. So, how do you guide bakers on what they need to consider when formulating these better for you breads?
Yeah, it's another good question, Maddie. Again, I think we need to go back to the enzymes. Enzymes are basically the most popular choice when you're talking keeping qualities. You want the product to last more than 1 or 2 days, and enzymes will do that for you. But in addition, if you are going to have that product last longer, you also have to consider things like molding. Bread can become moldy really fast. Traditionally, all the mold inhibitors or chemicals that the bakers used to put in are no longer considered clean label. Recently, there's been the option of having cultured wheat flour and cultured wheat starch, to name a few. We classify them as NMIs or natural mold inhibitors that the baker can actually put in there to help prevent mold. Now, flavor, that's another thing. Anytime, if you're talking again, a keto bread or something that has low carbs, a lot of times you're adding a lot of either Vita wheat gluten to the formula, or you're adding some type of gums or fibers that'll absorb a lot of water, that will lower your calories. And again, it's going to affect the flavor, like I mentioned earlier. There are some flavor enhancers. I'd like to go back again to yeast extracts. That's one very good option that you can do. We have a parent company at Lesaffre called BioSpringer that offers right now a lot of different options to enhance flavor and give you some of those unique tastes that you're actually looking for. Besides that, there's other things that can be available to the baker to help enhance flavors too. Enzymes can even, provide additional sugars to give you some more of that flavor.
And how can bakers get in touch with the soft to get started on these bread formulations?
Well, it's pretty simple, Maddie. I would say just call. That's kind of an obvious thing. Nobody really has all the answers, but I can say that, us at Lesaffre, we're fermentation experts, and we're also experts on all ingredient functionalities. So we're very adept at all the latest trends. And we have vast worldwide resources where we can tap into worldwide to basically give you an answer that you need. That's what we're here. We're here to help you as a baker. We're here to help the consumers to better nourish and protect the planet.
Tim, thank you so much for letting me pick your brain. You just had so many great insights, and it's been really wonderful hearing about all the cool things Lesaffre is doing for these better for you breads.
Thank you, Maddie. Really appreciate it.